Just take these. I'll get some more. I'll get some for you.
So what?
Now the fish you're seeing out there, the gray ones are called Bermuda chub. The ones with the yellow tail are the yellowtail snapper. Of course, the yellowtail snapper is a member of the snapper family. They live in shallower waters than the Caribbean red snapper, grow a bit larger than the ones you're seeing out there, but they taste just as good as the red snapper. Of course, in texture, they are a bit softer. The one with the small vertical stripe, the small fish, they have like green and black stripes. Those are called sergeant majors. Now a sergeant major only grow about 4 inches long, or that's the biggest I've seen them around here. But for you folks that like seafood, the Cayman Islands is a great place to be. As you can see, there's no shortage of fish, but there's also conch, lobster, and all that other stuff too. That's alright, go ahead. Now they got if you walk into a restaurant here, oh, that red one out there, that's called a mutton snapper. Yeah, he's similar to the Caribbean red snapper, just live in shallower waters. He lives in the reef instead of deep waters. But if you walk into any restaurant here and you saw fresh fish, conch, lobster, any of that stuff on the menu, it was probably caught that same day. Now shrimp, if you walk into a restaurant and you saw fresh shrimp on the menu, that was probably freshly imported. We do not catch shrimp here. To catch shrimp, you drag the net behind the boat, and of course there's coral guys all around here that would tear those nets up. You're not going to catch anything. You're good, man. You're good. I'm going to sit right here. I'll plan out a place for you guys when we're going back toward the port. We're going to stop at a place along the beach, but I'll show you a place that's close to the port that's even better than the place we're going to stop if you want to try that one out. He said they should have a handsome captain like him handling this boat. Instead, you have to handle the mermaid. He was one of the guys that went out in the ocean and saw those manatees as mermaids. That's Captain Larry, as a matter of fact. Him and Captain Ricardo are probably the two only licensed captains that are running boats in this harbor. I'll tell you that. The rest of them are boat drivers. These guys are really licensed captains. Okay, going on about turtling. Back in the early years, turtling was the main source of income in the Cayman Islands. You know, it used to be that's what they did to survive. Now today it's actually illegal to take a turtle from the wild. But of course, the turtle is actually the national dish. The only place you can legally buy it though is over at the turtle farm. You know, they raise some over there for, some are raised to release back into the wild, and others are raised to sell the meat to the local market, like you do in any other farm fish, of course. But today is not one of our main sources of income. The main source of income in the Cayman Islands today are tourism, finance, and construction. And pretty much in that order. When I say main source of income, I'm speaking of the main source of employment. In other words, tourism makes up about 70% of the income to the Cayman Islands, so therefore it is our main source of income. Even though we are a British island, you'll find that most of the visitors to this island, about 65% of them, especially the stayover guests, are actually American. And this is because Miami International Airport is only a 55-minute flight from here. So you'll have people coming over for a weekend, but not a lot of people coming from London for a weekend. It's actually a 9-hour flight, you know? So, you know, if you have people come over here, that anyone that come from London stay a bit longer, you know, than just for a weekend, because it's an 18-hour flight back and forth. You know? Now, after I say that, no matter where you guys came from today, no matter who you are, where you came from, thank you for visiting the Cayman Islands. You may not look at it like this. You came here for your vacation, but this is the way I see it. There's other places you can go spend your money. You don't have to come here. And from the time each of you came here, you have contributed to our economy. Thanks a lot. All right. The second source of income in the Cayman Islands is the finance industry, or banking. There are just under 600 registered banks in the Cayman Islands. Only 100 square miles of territory, just under 600 banks. Now, only about a third of these banks are actually banks that you would walk into, cash a check, do the regular transaction like anyone else would do at a normal bank. The rest of these banks are called offshore banks. Some people even call them laundromats. But I prefer to say investment banks. Now, I'm pretty sure you heard about money laundering in the Cayman Islands. Everybody has. You're sitting at home watching a movie, something comes up about someone having an offshore account, the name the Cayman Islands pop up. I'll tell you this, about 60% of the stories we've heard about money laundering are not true. The other 40 probably are. Now, it used to be like 60s, late 60s, 70s, and early 80s. Guys would come here and drop off pallets of money, lots of money on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and no questions asked. Today it's not like that. Today it's actually, if you walk into a bank with anything over $3,000 US, you have to have a paper trail. You know, where you got it, how you got it. I am not saying that you can't launder money anymore here in the Cayman Islands. All I'm saying, it's gotten a bit harder than it used to be. And if you notice, I say it a bit harder, not a lot harder, right? There are ways to get around all of that. This is the Caribbean. We can get stuff done here if you want to do it. But of course, I know very little about that. What I do know is the reason a lot of people come here to invest their money and to work is because of the fact that we are tax-free. And this is probably one of the most attractive things about the Cayman Islands. No income tax, no property tax, no capital gains tax, no sales tax. Income tax. A lot of people here in the Cayman Islands don't know what that means. What is income tax? You speak to a guy on the road, you know, what is income tax? I don't know what it is. They don't know what it is because we don't have that here. The only thing deducted from your salary when you get your paycheck is a 5% that has gone into your pension plan. Now, it's mandatory for everyone to contribute to that pension plan or to a pension plan. It's a retirement fund. It's like a saving for your retirement. But of course, it's also mandatory for your employer, whoever he or she is, to match whatever you put in there. So in other words, from the time you start contributing, you already gain 100%. This money is given back to you at retirement age, which is 60 years of age here. But a lot of people opt for early retirement at 55, and you can do that legally. No income tax. Property tax. You came here and buy a home or a piece of property, you'll pay a one-time 7% stamp duty fee. This stamp duty fee guarantees your title here and in the UK. And once you have the title for that property, you do not ever have to pay taxes on it again. You know, in other countries, some places, people go broke and they lose their assets because of back taxes they can't keep up with, homes, everything else. That doesn't happen here. A lot of people here, instead of putting their money into a bank, they buy up as much property as they can, because they know if something happens that they lose some of their money, they always have that. They can always sell something back. You're not going to lose it. Now, you walk into a grocery store in the Cayman Islands, the price tag on something says $5. Take it over to the cashier, it is still $5. That's what I want you to remember, though. Everything here is priced in Cayman dollar. the exchange rate is 125 US dollar to 1 Cayman. In other words, 5 US dollars are actually 4 Cayman. 10 US dollars, 8 Cayman, that is the legal exchange rate. We are a British island, but you cannot purchase anything with British pound. It has to be Cayman dollar or US dollar. Of course, you can open an account in British pound, but if you want to purchase anything, it has to be in Cayman dollar or US dollar. The Cayman dollar. If you take the Cayman dollar away with you today, no matter how much it is, when that Cayman dollar leaves the Cayman Islands, it becomes a Cayman Island souvenir. The dollar changes, it becomes a souvenir. Instead of being a dollar, it's just a piece of paper. It can only be spent here in the Cayman Islands. So just keep that in mind. Okay, now, you might be wondering now, after I say this about there being no taxes, how does the government pay to maintain schools, their roads, and stuff like that? Well, there are quite a few ways, but one of the main sources is import duties. Anything that's brought into this island, there's a duty fee on it. And this can be pretty high, depends on, not everything has the same percentage, depends on what you're importing. If you bought a car anywhere else in the world, brought it to the Cayman Islands, you can pay anything between 14 to 40% of the value in import duties. So you can see how this generates a lot of money. If you're here because you're going to be here, between 12 and 2 o'clock this afternoon, you're going to see the roads are congested with cars. There are lots of cars here. Everyone has to pay that import duty to bring that car in. Now, trade and business license, vehicle registration, work permit fees, all those are where the government make their money. So, and some of this is allocated to schools, road works, and infrastructure, different stuff. And the rest, is used to pay the government, the police, and other government officials for doing absolutely nothing. Anyway, here now our captain is going to take us to the shore. He's going to take our boat and convert it back into a bus. Are you guys ready for that part?
Oh yeah.
All right, ready or not? Here we go. Go, bus, go. Come on, let's have some out. Go, bus, go. Go, bus, go. All right, and we are back on land. It is a bus once more. Now I tell you, when he's coming at that ramp, he make it look like he's walking the park. But he has his job cut out for him. He's actually operating 3 engines coming at that ramp. When you get off, you can go around the back, you can see there are 2 propellers. That's 2 engines that run while it's in the water, and there's another one that runs the drive shaft. There are 3 Caterpillars C7s beneath these decks. And he has to operate all 3 of them in the transition there, so he does a pretty good job. Anyway, what you'll never see here in the Cayman Islands, and I'll tell you this, I have been here for 20 years. Yeah, that's part of the chicken population over there. But that's funny, right? Okay, you see, it was, you normally see a chicken, a rooster chasing a hen. That was a hen chasing a rooster there. That's how the ladies are here too. Now what you'll never see here in the Cayman Islands, I'll tell you this, I have been here for 20 years. You'll never see 2 guys working at once. Look at this. This is a perfect example. He does all the work. He works hands, legs, brain, and everything else. I only talk. Put the ladder down, bring it up, that's pretty much it. Over on that side, you can have a look at our gas prices. Yeah, that's for imperial gallon. An imperial gallon is a bit more than a US gallon, like you all know. But also that price is a little deceptive. Remember, I told you everything is priced in Cayman dollar. So that 446 is about 558 US dollar per gallon. Now this street we're traveling along is called the West Bay Road, and properties along here can be quite expensive. Some of the most expensive in the Cayman Islands. Just to give you an idea, see this open piece over here? There's a for sale sign. It runs out to the water and up to that fence. This tan fence out here. That has been for sale for quite some time. It's a nice piece of property, but it's selling for 12 million US dollars. Wow. Not all properties in the Cayman Islands are that expensive. You can get a starter home, like out in the Eastern District, like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, for anything within 200 to 300,000 US dollars. You can even get it for less than that out in the Eastern District. Along this strip now, it'll start for about $500,000 up, anything that size. It's only because out in front of all that is, of course, beachfront property and the 7-mile beaches out there. But look at this. Let me give you a little insight on properties here in the Caribbean, or in the Cayman Islands. when you if you go to a real estate agent, he's gonna, and you're overseeing, you're asking them to send you pictures of properties. They're gonna send you pictures of properties on the beach. You're thinking, oh, this person want to move to the Caribbean. They want to live on the beach. You do not have to live on the beach in the Cayman Islands to be near a beach. Look at this. Come down here and look at your property. Look at what you're buying. Look at this here. Just an idea. This street comes up here. The West Bay Road separates properties on your right from properties on your left. Properties over there on your right are half the price of properties on your left. Buy a piece of property over there, build your home, walk across the street and you're right on the beach. And I'll tell you this, no beaches in the Cayman Islands are privately owned. No one. You can go on the beach out here. These guys own the access to the beach. Of course, you can't walk through their property and go on the beach. But there's public access all around the 7 Mile Beach, all around the West Bay Road. Once you get out there, you can walk from one end of that 7 Mile Beach to the other. You can actually even sit in front of where that house is, and they can't tell you anything. Beaches are public here. As far as we came, or we're going, you don't see any private homes over on that side. But you saw condos, timeshares, places like that, rentals. Now, at this time of year, they're about 80-85% filled. That's from the beginning of November on to the end of April. They would fill up more than that. Sometimes they're at 95%. But during the months of July, August, and September, these places are fairly empty. And that's a good time to come up down here if you don't want to spend a lot of money. You can stay in one of these places for a week at that time of year for while you stay for 3 nights right now. But it's only because that is our summer months and also the peak of our hurricane season. That's why they're not filled up. Our summer months are mid to high 90s. Very rarely do you see anything over 100 degrees here. The lowest we ever get is around February. And the record low in the Cayman Islands is actually 55 degrees. That's the lowest it's ever been. I have never seen it that low since I've been here. The lowest I've seen it was 65. That's warm. That's cold for us, but I know that's probably warm for some of you folks where you come from. And there's the Cayman Pond. That little one right there. No ducks out today. Anyway, here we are at Royal Palms. This place here is on the 7 Mile Beach. They have changing rooms, restrooms. Now your wristband, they normally charge a fee to get in here, but your wristband gives you access to the place and also to use their restrooms, showers and stuff like that. The beach chairs are separate, and of course, you don't need to rent one of those. They rent them, but you don't need to rent one of those. We were going to be here for 30 minutes. In 25 minutes you're coming back, so it doesn't make sense to rent one of those here. Anything you want at the bar, of course, it is a cash bar, like I said. Alright, we are putting this little box at the back. This is a tip box. It's also a suggestion box. Anything that goes in here is appreciated. Unfortunately, I ran out of paper for the suggestions though. But you can write the suggestion on the tip and I'll get bored. That way we save a tree. Thank you all. Please watch your step going down this ladder. And remember to start making your way back in 25 minutes. The bus will be right here. We're not leaving. Thank you all. Watch your step going down. And like I said,